What's good, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Full Circle. I'm your host, as always, Harmon Jr. Please feel free to find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media. And as always, we have a great episode for you this week. One, because we have the great Justin Mikos joining us. He is another Game Informer alumni, which
yes.
We've never actually had the pleasure to meet in person, but we've for years have been, always on each other's Twitter. Yeah, all that good stuff. So this is another great moment where it's like we've always been friends, always felt like we're friends, and now we're here. It may be in the virtual space doing what we love, talking about games. And okay, people, I know this is a nerd culture podcast, quote unquote, or at least that's what it says in all the podcast information. But we just talk mainly about video games. But we've been doing only video games for a while. We had a few anime, but no, that's screw it. We're going anime heavy this episode for all those people who've been wondering where it was. We're having an Attack on Titan Spoilercast. So fair warning before we go into any other spiel. Yes, the last half of this podcast will be up. There it is. There it is. We will be talking about the manga. So yes, beyond that last season, mid-last season, whatever you want to call that nonsense.
That was weird.
Yeah, we're talking about the complete, definitive end. So if you don't want to know, after we stop talking video games, you go ahead and get out of there. But before any of that, Justin, just in case the people don't know, who are you and what do you do?
All right. I've always been very passionate about video games my whole life. I was kind of on a pretty straight shot for a while, though I'm kind of taking a break right now. But I always been, writing about video games. I did it for like my school papers in high school and college. I had my own column there. And then I interned. I was blogging at Game Informer, and I got an internship there. It was a few years ago now, 2015, I want to say. So it's been a little while. And then I've kind of been in between things for a little bit now. But I am still writing occasionally. I have my own blog at my Twitter's at Justin Mikos, and my website is very easy, just justinmikos.com. And it's maybe kind of like we're just saying here, like we usually talk about video games. I do say I talk about anime on my my blog as well, but probably 80% video games, 20% anime. And I've been putting out a few this year. I think about like 5 blog posts this year. So I'm getting back into it. COVID kind of slowed things down for where I want to be, but getting back out there is kind of the thing.
Yeah, man, consistency is the key. I feel you, man. It slowed us all down, but we're here now, talking to the people, all the podcast areas. But like I said, people, we're gonna be having an Attack on Titan Spoilercast. Stay tuned for that. But before that, I know we've been talking a lot about Xbox for almost a full month, it seems like, because they won't stop doing amazing, crazy things. But
they've had some wild announcements. Like MLB was pretty wild for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that was a game changer, no pun intended. But so I decided real quick, we're gonna be talking about the state of Nintendo. And okay, when I say the state of Nintendo, I mean state of Nintendo currently April 2021. We've talked about future predictions for Sony and Nintendo, but now we're talking about them. But before that, we're going to start with PlayStation, because I'm not going to lie, PlayStation used to get a lot of love on this podcast, and now it's almost the X-Cast from, Kind of Funny Games Daily, it feels like.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about the state of PlayStation first, April 2021. And Justin, as you know, getting the PS5 is damn near impossible.
I luckily have one in the background there.
There we go. PS5 squad.
I lucked out. I just happened to see a Wario tweet go up, and I hit right when it went up, and then I got mine. So
Wario 64, you were a saint.
Yep.
So as we know, it's been hard to get. So financially speaking, they're doing just fine.
Yeah.
You can't sell like hot potatoes, but some recent things have happened. They're pulling, all the shops for old PlayStation consoles.
Yep.
They're remaking apparently The Last of Us, because
I think that's ridiculous.
That's insane. And there was an article about Bloomberg that was basically saying Sony is doing Doom practices with their focus on only big blockbuster games. I mean, it's been working for them last generations. But real quick, Justin, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so this is if I had to pick, the two first parties that I play the most, it is Nintendo and Sony. More than Xbox. I do have an Xbox, but not the current Series X S. So probably later this year. So Sony, means a lot to me. I swapped from Xbox 360 to back half of PS3 and then PS4. I was Sony. I'm here right now, PS5. And, in the PS4 era, I think they really did a good job hitting all the different, fronts for, gaming, that you want to, hit. You had the big AAA games that their first party did. You had a lot of Japanese game support, which was awesome. A bunch of indie games. They had VR. And so, they hit a lot of different areas. And, they were really, for the players and all that. And I think with this PS5 and maybe this, the stores shutting down, I think they're doing it too quick and they're not doing a good job communicating. I think communication has really kind of fallen apart this last, really year or so during their transition. It's been pretty obvious, they've been moving their headquarters from Japan and making it more Western focused in California. I think they're losing something is really kind of what we're seeing in this messy transition process. And I hope they refine it again. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm at mentally with them. Yeah.
Oh no, I perfectly understand. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they're losing something. And what I think that something is that, so think of it like this. We're going to talk about Nintendo, but we always know Nintendo's going to put out a great Mario game. Nintendo's going to put out a great Zelda game. We're going to put out a great Pokemon game, even though it's technically Game Freak. But what people want to know is they want to know what's new. What are the things coming that we don't already know? And Sony, we know Ratchet and Clank's going to be amazing. We know Horizon Zero Dawn. I forgot the name of the sequel.
Forbidden West. I had to look it up too.
Forbidden West is going to be amazing. We know whatever, God of War 2 or God of War Ragnarok, will be amazing. Yes. But we want to know what's new. Everything's new. And I think, Sony has hit that point with Nintendo, we know these things are going to be great. Whereas Xbox is look at this new thing. Look at this new thing. Look at this new service. And it's new. And it's does that mean Xbox is doing better? I mean, yes. Empirically, just short answer, yes. But they're giving... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think winning, I think sales wise, Sony's on top worldwide right now, no question, right? Coming off the PS4, generation, and I think Xbox is really hungry this time. They're making those big moves. They're buying studios up, and we're gonna start seeing how that plays out pretty soon. And it's well, what's PlayStation done for me lately? And it's oh, they're shutting down the stores. That's bad. I want to get into that. We'll save it for a little bit. But exactly.
Yeah, and so I mean, necessarily, do you have to do something new to be amazing? Short answer, yes. Long answer, no. And the thing is, with direct competition, Sony is Xbox direct competition and vice versa. Mm. And to a lesser extent, Nintendo, not because they fell, just because Nintendo, people have said this until the end of time, have carved their own lane in such a way that it doesn't matter what they do, but it does. And so, and you said communication, and that goes on with we don't know if anything new is coming. We don't know if there's a big project working. We just assume no at this point and even if there is, will it be something noteworthy?
Yeah, I think the real frustrating thing is that right now it's impossible to find a PlayStation 5. For the average person, unless you are F5ing every day, trying the various things, it's just really hard to get one. People want to jump in. I think this is the most hungry the people out there have been for a new generation of consoles. And so in the meantime, it's why are you throwing away your stores? That's just incredibly frustrating. Such short notice, only 3 months for PS3, PSP. I don't know if you saw, like, apparently patches are going down as well, so like you can't even like patch some of your old games. Apparently it's spotty. Like some people are getting them, some people aren't. And so like when the only other precedent we really have is when Nintendo shut down the Wii Shop channel, which that didn't have patches, to be clear. But they gave us a year in advance, to like let us prepare for this. And so like to shut all this down in the middle of the pandemic, where people can't even get these consoles, it's such short notice. It's just so frustrating. They're throwing out their legacy. Like so many of those PS1 and PS2 classics, they're not on PS5. A lot of those PS3 games, they're not there either. It's like I've seen people make the joke like, oh yeah, what was it, like Ratchet starts at Ratchet 10 now or whatever. Like you can't go back and get any of those old Ratchets, and it's like I don't know. It's just frustrating. Throwing out Japan Studio as well. I mean,
oh yeah,
we need those little games in addition to the big ones. You can't just be all AAA all the time, because you're gonna just run into that issue where there's not enough to play for the hardcore who buy a lot of games like us.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to talk about the future. I'm not going to talk about the predictions. We're talking about as of right now. Yeah. And I can't understand any of PlayStation's decisions.
No.
Even if they have something grand planned, what PlayStation is doing is what we all criticized Xbox for years. We were always like, the reason I go with PlayStation is because they do this. They have the games I want. I can play the games. The backwards compatibility is not hard. They have the... Because I've talked about this before. Back in the day, the indie games, you had to go to PlayStation. You always kind of had ID at Xbox, but when you talk about like the indie games, quote unquote, they were usually on PlayStation, and Xbox acquired them sometime later.
Yeah. It was funny because like Xbox was first, and then they kind of fell out of it, and then PlayStation took its place. Now they kind of fell out of it. Now it's Switch.
Yeah.
Like I hope Nintendo's been treating indies very well with their indie worlds. I hope PlayStation can get back to that. They did announce like 10 indie games on the PlayStation blog. Man, I always wonder how like much the blog reaches people. Like how many people know the PlayStation blog quite exists, and I don't know. Kind of a weird thing.
It's one of those things I feel like, if you're a true gamer, quote unquote, whatever you want to define that as, you kind of know, because they usually drop a lot of big news there. But for the average person, they probably don't. But then again, whatever the PlayStation blog says is going to be...
It's going to spread out.
IGN's going to do a write-up, Game Informer, GameSpot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So if I had to rank PlayStation as in Q1, where before, January, February, March, April, that's 4 months. That's the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Outside of, selling PlayStation 5s like hotcakes, I really think PlayStation is not doing too great because, okay, I always tell people I buy game systems to play games. And just empirically like, if you want to play the most bang for your buck, the Series X just has infinitely more gaming options with Game Pass. They
have their whole library.
Yeah,
like literally everything they've done since Xbox, the original, the first Xbox, however you want to call it, the first Xbox, like it's all one thing. Like it's crazy. Like 20 years of a console, not all of it, but a vast majority of it's all ready to play.
Yeah, and then even newer games, like you've had Outriders and MLB The Show be day ones. But here's something crazy about, I know friends, and I used to always make fun of people for playing this game on Xbox. I'm like, bro, you're not a true insert game I'm about to say fan because you have it on Xbox, which means what games have you played? But you can now officially play every Kingdom Hearts game through Game Pass. And that's insane to think about.
It's crazy.
Like, that is insane. Like, people are experiencing Kingdom Hearts for the first time, and that's beautiful. And they're going to get to 3 and then just flip their desk over. We've all been there. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just enjoy the experience up until that point.
Oh, I like 3 a lot.
We have a 3. What?
I know.
What?
And I love Nomura's Wild Ride. Like that post credits thing. I'm all in.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. We don't have time for this.
I know.
3 was not my favorite. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
But I will say the after credits scene where you find Zigbar is like the greatest GOAT of all time.
Yeah.
Was so good for me to bump that game up a whole point. Those last 10 minutes of credit roll was just like, oh, like I was mentally throwing up with information and like realizations, and then like that was enough for me. Let me put it like this: if that did not happen, I will definitively say Kingdom Hearts was a bad game. But that saved it all for me. That one. All that moment, and if you played the game, you know the lore. I know it's crazy. Yeah. We all know that feeling. But moving on.
Yeah.
Like, how gamer friendly is that you can play the entire franchise of a series easily accessible? That's the crazy part.
Exactly.
Technically, you didn't buy any of those games. I mean, technically, and you have access to all that along with modern games. And there's other series you can do that. I know.
Like pretty much all the Yakuza games are there at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to. I just beat Like a Dragon today.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm gonna start the Yakuza series. And here's the crazy part: I don't even own a One X. I just have Game Pass Ultimate, so I'm just gonna open my computer tab, go to the Xbox app and plug in my controller, and there we go. I don't have to go find this game. I don't have to go download it from. I don't have to pay additional. It's just
ready to go.
Yeah, it's just ready to go. So I think as of right now, PlayStation is really the underdog.
I think so. Yeah, I hope they turn it around. We're gonna move on to Nintendo inevitably soon. Like Nintendo, we know when we're hearing next for them. We're gonna hear from them at E3. We don't know when we're gonna hear next for Sony. But I do want to say one thing. They are coming up on. So I mean, like me, if I want to just say real quick, actually, like these first few months, like it was literally I'm just playing PS4 games on my PS5. That was basically it. Like I played Ys 8 on PS5 and it had 60 frames, and it was like, oh yeah, everything's awesome, it's great. But we are coming up for some games like pretty soon. We got the Nier remake is next week. The Final Fantasy 14 open beta I think is. I think we'll be up when this podcast launches. May is that big month as well. We got Resident Evil Village. We got Mass Effect Remaster. But then their big week, I really think the one a lot of people are really looking forward to is that June 10th week. It has 3 big games for them that are all exclusive or at least PlayStation exclusive. So it's got the Final Fantasy VII upgrade thing, which is going to be big because everyone just kind of got a taste for it on Plus and whatnot. And then we got Guilty Gear Strive, which I'm super pumped about. Going to be a big fighting game staple, I think, for a while. I have some things we could talk about that game if we wanted to. But and then their biggest one is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's their first, and they beat Xbox to the punch here. It's their first true exclusive. It's not on PS4.
True next gen.
True next gen. It's not. Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
It's gonna be the first field test for the entire generation.
Exactly. So it's our first time we're really seeing what this console generation can do, and so bad times now, but we're actually really steadily moving into better times. So even if we don't know like the big picture, the immediate near future is looking pretty good. So yeah, we got through it. We made it.
Yeah. I'll brief because we talked about something. I briefly said I said Xbox is definitely winning now, but even though we have all this stuff, Xbox is still a wild card in the sense that we don't know if these games will be successful or even good. Like, we don't know if Halo Infinite is going to blow our socks off. It has no choice but to. Like, I'm just going to repeat what I said last week. It's a Cyberpunk 2077. This game cannot suck. Like, it really can't. It can't be a 7. It can't be an 8. It has to be like a 10 out of 10. Like 9. Like, whatever you want. If we take the numerical aspect of it, it can't be anything short of amazing. Point blank, period.
Yeah, I really think so. I'm hopeful. Yeah. I think they took a step back. They're like, hey, we know we can do better. Like, we know this needs to be good out of the gate. We can't have a Master Chief collection where it starts out bad for years before finally becoming a success. Like, it needs to be really good, and so I'm excited. I think they got a good shot.
All right, and like you said, we're gonna jump into Nintendo, switching gears, switching it up. My lame jokes are funny, people. I don't care what y'all think, but so I'm just gonna say this bluntly: the state of Nintendo is nothing, which isn't a bad thing only because it's Nintendo. If we think about it, Nintendo 2020 was a full year of nothing.
I 100% agree.
Outside of Animal Crossing, which has literally carried the console for a year plus now. I mean, yeah, we got some Pokemon DLC, which I liked and stuff. We got the Mario remakes and the 35. Now we got the Pac-Man, which is really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
But if we're talking about big picture, big games overall, Nintendo has basically given us a year of nothing. I mean,
I want to throw one in there. Paper Mario: The Origami King was awesome. I don't know how you felt about it, but I love that game. That was good.
I'm gonna say a horrible thing. I have that game. I have it, and I've just not played it. Like like when I got Origami King, I also got Persona 5 Royal, and then Final Fantasy 7 also came out around that time, and then I was RPG'd out, and then
I mean, depending on how you look at it, it's not really an RPG this time, so it's scratching some different itches.
This is true. This is true. But basically, like, I needed like a different, some palette cleanser, and now I reached that point. Other games are out, and I was like,
I can't say like, oh, you need to rush out and play it. It was, I don't know, like my 9th or 8th favorite game last year, but it is really fun. I don't. It's not a return to form. It's not those old Paper Marios like Thousand Year Door that people really hold near and dear. But it's really funny. The graphics are great, and they bring back like that. Like, there's a lot of Toads still. I don't know if you know the Toad situation in Paper Mario, but there's too many Toads. But they all have funny things to say, and this time where like the world was kind of generic and some of those like last two, this time it feels like an actual world. You're going on a big adventure. So that was one bright spot last year. I do want to not make sure they get credit for.
Right. They receive credit for it. But I noticed, so when I went to download Pac-Man 99, Pac-9, 9, whatever they call it.
Pac-Man 99.
I realized, and so I had to delete Apex from my Switch because I didn't have enough space, and I'm just gonna be real.
I'm running out of space.
It's horrible on Switch. People do not recommend. I tried to go play with some kids and own them, and I'm just like, this is just bad. There's no other way to say it.
I don't like Pac-Man 99. I was a little let down. I was really excited when it was announced. I was like, I like Tetris more, and I just started playing more Tetris 99.
I didn't like Mario 35 actually. Like,
not too much, but I still felt bad it shut down. Like it was fun.
Yeah. So other than what I hope is the Super Nintendo Switch that we're supposedly getting later this year, who knows? We better. Like Bloomberg, we better, because you got my hopes up too high. Nintendo is just in a state of purgatory. Like, they're just existing. So, and it's weird because we only excuse it because it's Nintendo, which we shouldn't, but we do.
I actually think they're gearing up, is how I feel it. Like, last year, disaster, right? Like, 2 games we're really excited about. Part-Time UFO was also a really small, quirky one that was fun last year, but really small games for last year. Indie games kind of had to step up that year, but so it's kind of the same story as PlayStation. I think the near future is looking pretty good. We got Saga Frontier comes out this week. It's also on PlayStation. We got new Pokemon Snap coming in at the end of this month. I think you're a big Pokemon fan.
Big Pokemon fan. Big Pokemon.
Yeah. Do you like Pokemon Snap?
Oh, I love Pokemon Snap. Like, I was one of those people for years, like, give us Pokemon Snap 2.
Oh, nice.
Which is a better name than new Pokemon Snap. But hey,
I never liked the news.
Can't have it all.
But that's coming out. People are going to be sleeping on it. It's destined to do poorly. I hate to say, but the Famicom Detective Club remakes are coming in mid-May. They're visual novels, and it's like Ace Attorney, but just more the murder mystery, like no courtroom scenes. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a part of Nintendo's history you might have known about since Smash Bros. Melee. They had a trophy of like the main character in it, and so I'm looking forward to that. And then the big one for me, I don't actually like usually post on Twitter like, man, I really want this game to come out. I really want this new sequel to get made. And for like 3 or 4 occasions last year leading up to this, Mario Golf. I am so excited for Mario Golf. It has been way too long. I love Mario Golf. The 3DS game was great, and we haven't had one on consoles since GameCube. So it's long overdue. I really hope it's going to be cool. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's near future Switch is looking pretty hot. Well, not hot, but good enough. Good enough.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wrap this up with you said Pokemon Snap was gonna do poorly, and you know what? I absolutely.
Oh no! I think that would. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
I meant Famicom. Famicom was gonna do bad. But...
Okay. But well, the reason I think when I say poorly, I mean it won't be as good as they're hoping it will be or should be because it's Pokemon. And what I think is, I think it's probably going to review bad and sell good enough. And what I mean by that, I was watching the trailer and I was like, a game that's essentially photo mode, the game. Yeah. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's years behind of photo modes of your average game today.
Yeah.
And that can't. Yeah. When that's your central, like, because when I was looking at like, oh, you can edit photos. I'm like, but yes, you can do that in every game now. Taking photos in games is no longer novelty. When you get it, yes, now it's expected. Yeah. So your photo mode, the game can't be worse than your basic photo mode in any other game. Now, granted, that's only what I've seen. Granted, I don't know, wherever correct way you said it.
Yeah, it's great. they haven't shown too much. Yeah. Which, I mean, that first Pokemon Snap was very short. Like, it's like, what is it, like 6-7 levels? And you played them a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what, how they sell it today. Like, what is going to keep us hooked at least like 10 hours? Let's go 10 hours instead of like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I did forget to mention when I was kind of going near future, Disgaea 6 is coming out only on Switch, surprisingly. It's not coming out on PS4 in the West, at least at launch. That's end of June. We got Neo The World Ends With You in July, and then No More Heroes 3 is that like first of those kind of like big games that have been floating out there forever. One's coming in. And I think we got E3 to hopefully, like, I think they're ramping up again. Like, we had that Nintendo Direct, what was it, like March, I think? Does that sound right? Yeah. I think they got the conversation going again. Like Sony, like I said earlier, like, oh, they're not communicating well. I think Nintendo's starting again. So I think we're going to ramp up and we're going to have a cooler year. There's a lot of big developers they have that haven't released the game in a while. Like if like the last Mario game was 2016, 17 was Switch. Yeah. 17 was Mario Odyssey, like Xenoblade. They pump out games quick at Monolith. That's kind of crazy. They're huge games. And they pump them out. So like, might be another Xenoblade. Like, might be another one of those. And you shared that article with me. With they're hoping to put out some like new experiences as well. And so we'll see. I mean,
yeah, Nintendo.
You always are going to say that, kind of thing. But yeah.
So they said to start giving more love to their first party titles, like how Splatoon is getting another game with Splatoon 3, and they said
I'm very excited.
Yeah, and they're gonna start giving more love to those. So I'm assuming we're gonna see a Donkey Kong, we're gonna see like a Star Fox, we're gonna see Metroid Prime 4, like
one day. Hard at work.
Because they didn't specify in detail, but I feel like that statement was geared towards that because, again, like I said earlier, you're going to get a Mario, you're going to get a Zelda, you're going to get a Mario Kart. So there will be no need to state the obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what it meant, but we'll know. But anyway, guys, that's enough video game talk. So here is your warning. If you don't want to know spoilers for Attack on Titan, if you want to wait for the anime, if you're reading the manga yourself, and don't care to hear this conversation, please leave. The door's there. You got all this time.
And it'll be here for you, waiting for you.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, just come back. Just come back.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be talking about Attack on Titan in its entirety, or what's left of the series, what we liked, what we didn't like. It's a full spoiler cast, people. It's in the name, spoiler cast. So
Yes.
if you didn't know, Attack on Titan ended this month with chapter 139. I was expecting, it's a monthly manga, people, so usually that's like 40 to 60 chapters depending. So I was expecting like a good 120 pages, 120 pages or something wild like that. We got like the usual, like, I don't even think it was 50 to be honest.
52.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's right
Wow.
there. When I saw that, I already knew I was probably gonna be disappointed. I already knew, because when a regular manga ends that comes out weekly, they're usually pushing 100 just right out the gate. So for a monthly manga to end on 52, you already know. But all right, Justin, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay.
Give the people a recap of what happened in the last chapter, and then we'll work backwards and talk about everything with the bigger picture.
Okay. All right. So I can do that. I prepared for some variations here. All right. So this is the chapter 139. We just had the Battle of Heaven and Earth, as I believe what they call it, where we fight Eren. He had turned into this heavy metal album cover version of himself, and big Titan, like it's like a giant centipede dinosaur thing. And Ymir was there, the founder from 2,000 years ago, the source of all the Titans. And she was summoning Titans from the past to fight off the Survey Corps and the people from Marley, like the warrior unit. And so they're all fighting, we have some big back and forths. We jump into paths at one point, which is like this higher plane of reality where everyone's connected.
Time does not exist, all this nonsense.
Yes, and we will talk about that because I have some issues. So we have our big fight. It looks like we won. The battle's over, and then 138. We got a round 2 going on. Titan Eren is back again. All the big Titans had stopped. They had started the rumbling. And this big giant centipede alien thing from who knows where is out causing havoc. And Mikosr swoops in with the help of Levi and Harmon and Falco, who's a big bird falcon, and they break through his teeth and slice off Eren's head. And that last shot in 138 is Mikosr holding Eren's head,
making out with it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little weird. And Ymir is watching in the background as this final scene unfolds. So that's where we were. Now we're at 139. And there's going to be some frustration here because where we first start, I actually had to go back. I reread where the anime left off and to here the moment you invited me on this podcast because I wanted to be prepared. And I'm glad I did because I actually would have gotten quite a few details wrong. And my opinion's a little changed since we first talked about this ending. But where this conversation takes place is we're in paths again, ostensibly. And this occurs when Harmon and the gang are riding on that boat to get to the final battle. Like they're going to go build the airship and then airship over to the final battle. So we take a step back. This is where this paths conversation happened. And what we learn is I really want you to step in at certain points here and tell me how you feel about Eren here. Because this is Eren and Harmon are having a conversation.
All right, I'll stop right there. So the point where the conversation in Paths takes place, this is if you're a Titan and or an Eldian to a certain degree, but we're just going to say Titan to keep it simple. If you have been a Titan, you can go to Paths and you can talk to anyone else who's been a Titan. You kind of live forever there, quote unquote. Yeah. Just to give you some idea. So the scouts have just now beat the Jaeger Knights at this harbor, essentially. Eren's faction. They've kind of killed their old friends. It was beautiful and sad. Really great stuff. So they hop on the train with the Akubo.
Onyankopon?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna be real because it doesn't shine. This is the people from the Asian continent in this world.
The Azambito.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They get on the boat with them and they're going to go try to stop the rumbling, which seems impossible. Annie's on board because, she's like, screw it. I'm going to try to save my dad if he's alive. If he's not, I'm going to help. And so they're on this boat. Tensions are high. They just killed friends. And this is where, that happens. And this is where I take issue with that. Because this conversation should have happened a hell of a lot sooner. That to me, that was the wrong time. Granted, Eren erased their memory, so does it matter when the conversation happens?
Yeah.
For the story, yes, I think it does. Because he should have told them this, especially since he already knew the future. Like, if this conversation would have happened, I think this conversation should have happened sometime shortly after they got back to Paradise Island, after they killed the Tybar family during that whole fiasco. I think that would have made a hell of a lot more sense and been better for me, the reader. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So here's what happens in that conversation. So Eren and Armin are talking, and by the end of this conversation, Armin is going to forget this conversation, and we only learn about it at the end, post chopping off of Eren's head. And Armin learns that the plan, essentially, is he is going to wipe out everyone. So the genocide was happening. 80% of the planet is gone. Is gone.
That's official. 80% of the planet died, people.
Yes. Yeah. And so like when I first read this, I didn't think that actually happened. I was like, oh, they stopped them before that happened. No, that happened. And so rumbling did take out 80% of the people. And that's an important detail. So Eren's plan, as he tells it, is that he wants to make the Survey Squad into heroes for killing him. That is the whole plan. Okay, we'll get to that. The next thing is that this plan started because Mikosr saves Ymir, and this is the quote from the translation: "Agony of love," because she loved King Fritz. Okay. People, I
need to add in. She loved King Fritz despite being his literal slave. Like, yes, she was the queen, but she could not speak out of turn, was forced to bear his children. Like, the way they tell it, it was like, sit down, I'm going to impregnate you, and then I'm probably going to do some other horrors. Like, they're very explicit with how bad she was treated.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even say this was Stockholm Syndrome. This was just like, you need help. Despite having all the power to end it. That's the part that kills me. She had the power to end this, but she loved her literal slave master. Not trying to be racy with that term. Like, that's what he was.
You are 100% on point with this. Like, it is effed up, to put it lightly. So we never really hear from Ymir. She is at all, ever. We see her ghost. Eren gives her a big hug, couple 20 chapters back, in Pat's. But does she ever speak? No. But one weird thing, she actually appears in just random panels of the manga as this rumbling is happening. I don't know if you saw that, but when the rumbling is happening, she's watching people get trampled over. She's watching that final battle from on top of the big skeleton monsters. She's there. But
it was never really, because I always thought she was appearing to the scouts, as in I'm rooting for you. I hope you do this. And even when Eren gets his head cut off, she's in the background smiling it's over. Yeah. But the way Eren tells it, she never wanted it to be over to begin with. So that's really bothered me.
Yeah, and apparently too, when they landed on big heavy metal dinosaur Titan, it's not Eren who's fighting them with those titans that are all coming out of him. It's actually Ymir controlling all those titans. So she's the one here's where the crux of this issue is. I think we're both going to be on the same page here. They try to give Eren a way out, and I really don't like it, because Eren is a problem. He is killing 80% of the people. He is a monster. He is not a good guy. And they try to make it because of this Pat's nonsense that he saw it all in the future. So the next like bullet point I had. The plan started at the medal ceremony that you'll remember from when they took back Shigashina. Like he had that flashback when he touched Historia. That's when this whole plan started, according to him. This is when it started. And from then on, he wasn't really himself, and he was just going through it. And there's a dissonance there that I really don't like, because like you see like Eren kicking the crap out of Armin, you know, in that earlier scene, like in the restaurant, you know, where they confront each other, and he looks pretty into that. And then you know, in Pat's final conversation, he's like, "Hey, bro, I felt really bad about it. I'm really sorry." And he's like, "Yeah, bro, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I believe you." And you're like, "Really? Like, really? I don't." Like, we get like snippets of it. I thought we really didn't get much of Eren, but we actually get snippets of him like, "I'm gonna wipe them all out. Yep, 100%. I'm gonna do it. Like those kids dying, I'm stepping on them. I'm doing it." Yeah. And like, ew, I don't like it.
All
no.
Right. So I'm about to blow your mind with something. So anime watchers who are listening to this, who don't want to read the manga, but they're still listening to this. So here's where I think the story really falls apart. So if you remember back to Empaths again, your favorite place.
Yes.
This is maybe about 4 chapters before the finale or so, approximately. Armin is having a conversation with Zeke.
Yes.
Where Zeke explains to us he was in Paths, and his whole plan was to make Ymir bend to his will. But he was too weak. I don't know, in the mind, the heart, you know, with his determination. However, you know, they're real vague with it, but he was weak. It could not get Ymir to bend to his will. But Eren was charismatic enough to do that.
Yeah, so they had a connection is kind of how it
So that, again, like you said, they try to give Eren way out, but the way it's weird because it's kind of saying, based off the conversation between Zeke and Armin, Eren had full control over Ymir. So at that point, he was free to do his own will. But then they kind of toss it back in that Eren was freeing Ymir because Ymir set this plan in 2,000 years ago for her to be freed, and he was just completing destiny, so to speak.
Exactly.
But here's the kicker. They hadn't talked about this in the anime yet. It's going to be part of the real last season in December, or the winter, whenever that's supposed to release.
Somewhere in there, December, January.
Yeah. So tell me if you remember this.
Yeah.
If you remember, we learn about the sequence where it was Eren through Paths before he even became a Titan, controlling his dad to do all the horrible things.
Yes.
Which okay, first of all, that was I'm sorry, that blew my mind. That was an amazing reveal. But but in the grand scheme of it all, it's like
it makes no sense.
It's literally like, Eren, you were doing
a time paradox.
Yeah. Once, now that we have all the information, to me, it's like Eren was just being the bad guy because he somehow ascertained true, like he didn't have to obey King Fritz's will. He obtained royal blood. He literally had all the keys and could have basically
done anything else. Yeah, anything else.
He had the power to reshape the world, essentially.
Yeah.
God tier power, quite literally.
Yeah.
And this is the conclusion he came to.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And like that, we started with the explanation. We'll continue with this explanation as this journey of 139 unfolds here. But like it, that was the point. That point that Eren influenced his dad, where I was like, this ending is going to be bad. I didn't say it up front, but that was the point where I thought this ending was never going to live up to it, because it ties into this like thing. Like why did any of this happen? And it'll always come back to that point in Paths. Like, you're like, well, because Paths happened. And you're like, that's not really that satisfying. Like up until this point through Attack on Titan, like, we had grounded explanations you could point to, like why characters did things they did. And it's like this weird, like, sweeping out of the rug. Actually, Eren's dad wasn't the worst guy. Like, he actually did care. He learned from his mistake raising Zeke. He had a better relationship with his second son. He was actually going to back out of killing the royal family, even though he drove all the way over there.
But future Eren fucked with his head. Excuse me. Language.
Yes.
I apologize, listeners, but that's what he did. And honestly, I still feel like it could have been salvaged from the point because that was a mind blown. Like that was a If they would have kept going with Aaron's just the villain point blank period and they kept that angle, we would have been good. It would have been great. I think.
Yeah, I think that's what needed to happen. So I think there were two ways you could salvage this ending that we're still working our way through, and it's either Aaron was the villain 100%, or we got more resolution with the characters we cared about over this journey, like the Survey Squad, the Reiners, the Zeeks, not Zeke, Zeke dead, but Reiner, Armin, Mikosr, Jean, Connie. Like if we got more of them at the end, I think we would have been a little happier how this shook out. But here I'll throw it over to you for that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just gonna wrap up 139 real quick, and so here's the thing that bothers me. So okay. So Mikosr takes Aaron's head after she kills him. Her and Armin have a conversation that they're gonna take him home and bury him, under his favorite tree. Significance. So Connie and Jean and everyone else got turned into Titans. Thank God they did not die because I thought everyone.
Yeah, I would have been a sad.
Yeah. So everyone who survived at this point, I'm not gonna name them all. They continue to survive. Levi, he lives. He salutes all his fallen comrades. It was beautiful.
That was a good moment. Yeah, I like that.
And so
we see Sasha again, for example. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. And I think they really do see them. I don't think that was like a hallucination. I think they.
I think they legit see them too, and I think that was a cool. Like I'm like, oh, they really let us down in some spots. They didn't there.
They didn't there.
Yeah.
R.P. Hanj. Like I'm so happy she had a warrior's death because if she would have went out on like some sad mo stuff, I don't know if I could have survived the rest of the. She had a great death. It was honorable. You knew it was coming, so you didn't have to like be surprised by it. It was a self-sacrifice moment. But anyway, so then immediately after that, we have the Marlians.
Actually, before we do that, I do want to go one step back in the Aaron Armin conversation because there's one last point that's going to confuse this thing. So Aaron claims that the medal ceremony, past and future, existed for him simultaneously. This is what kind of blinds him to be the bad guy or whatever, as they say. And the weird one final thing we get with Ymir, this is the only final thing we get on her, is that she's the one who let Bertolt survive at the very first chapter. When he turned into a big colossal titan and kicked down the wall, which started this whole story. Like Titans should have probably come and killed him that day, but Ymir is the one who sent everyone away from him. Like she controlled the Titans to have that happen, and
that led to Aaron's mom getting ate. Oh my god!
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the. I think we just need to keep that in the back of our heads as we go through this, because what a weird final twist there.
Since we're on that, I was gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
Was that Ymir who did it, or was that Aaron? Because I was really confused reading it. I assumed it wasn't Aaron, but at this point, like, I don't put anything past Aaron. Because the way they were, I'm like, did you?
Aaron killed his own mom.
Did you really make this happen, Aaron? Like, because at this point, I don't put it past you, but just the FY. But yes, that did happen. But for the sake of this, we're just gonna say Ymir did that because who knows? I don't know. So
I mean that's what we're given. It's like what I got frustrated about this ending is definitely like did Aaron split in half? Hold that thought. I'm gonna get to that. So all right.
So immediately after Aaron's dead, world save or what's left of it.
Yeah.
The Marlians.
3 years.
Yeah. The Marlians. Before that, the Marlians and just people who were there. Immediately turn on the Eldians. Are like, are you gonna turn to Titan? Are you a Titan?
It's you see them all gone? Like no one's back here anymore. Like we killed the thing.
No, I love that scene because as I read it, that's how the guy was saying it. Are you a Titan? Prove it. Turn to one right now. I can't.
They're all gone. What do you want from me?
So they realize that Titans are gone. Then we have a flash forward of 2 to 3 years. Right? Or I don't know what the span of time is.
No, you're right there. I wonder if there was anything else I wanted to say. Let me think about this real quick.
Okay.
So I feel like we're missing one detail, but
We'll circle
maybe
back.
Not. Yeah, we'll circle back if it happens. But yeah, they work it out. That's what happens. All right, so now 3 years later.
Yeah, and the thing that I hate about this, the world still hates Paradise Island. So what was the point of the plan? So the world still hates them. But guess what? We're having peace meetings. So they're gonna have a peace meeting on Paradise Island. Also, Paradise Island has a modernized military, and they're still like, they're like F the world. You want to go to war? Let's go to war. We ain't scared. Yeah. And then Harmon and the gang is like, well, Eren, you did this for us. Now we're having peace meetings. Which what we were basically already doing before all this nonsense started, but now the world legit has a reason to hate us all. But we saved 20%, so yeah, future. And then Mikostr's under a tree and's like, "Oh, Eren, it's a pretty day. Oh, my scarf fell off. Oh, a bird wrapped it around my neck. Was that you, Eren?" Finn.
The end. Period. Yeah. So this is where, again, I think it really falls apart in the sense that so there was one mistake earlier that I wanted to mention. When we took out Eren's head, sliced him off, we never saw what happened to Big Old Centipede. Like Big Old Alien Centipede, we never really saw how that got resolved. And like that was just a weird detail that like I feel like we probably should have saw someone kill that thing.
I'm just gonna assume it vaporized with all the other Titans. That would be the logical answer.
I guess it's just like one of those like we could have seen that. I feel like that would have meant something. And so now we're here 3 years later, and the same kind of feeling. Like we probably should have seen more of this time period. Like, so I went back and reread the thing, and you really just kind of have to take them at their word that because I was like, the Jaegerists all got wiped out. Like we killed all of them on the dock. We killed Flock. The man with the wavy hair, who's a jerk. Also, he knew the whole plan all along. Flock was that one person Eren was like, I'm going to tell you the whole plan. And I was like, really? That guy? Like, okay.
I guess he was extremely loyal, I guess. I don't know.
I guess he was just the dude at that point. So we open with like, Historia is having the third birthday for her child because her child was born on the day of the rumbling final battle, which is, wow, it's an unfortunate birthday. And we see, I guess it's her husband. So like, I don't know if you ever believe, I was like, oh, Eren must be the dad or someone else that we know, but I guess it's just some random dude.
I believe they said, it was some dude who used to like her back when she worked at the farm, childhood lover type thing.
Exactly. And I guess that was the answer, I guess. And so like, that's a weird one, kind of. And yeah, that's who it was, I guess. And then the one good thing I will say in this ending, like peace talk thing, is that all right. So I guess I kind of believe now because when I first read it, like I don't believe this ending. I don't believe it. Period. But like I do kind of believe the Jaegerists won because there were various scenes of them like in public. Where they inspired a group of people. And I think it makes sense, like, oh, people would still be on Jaegerist's side if Eren's your guy who literally, made you not afraid of Titans every given moments. Like, he did save the day, ostensibly. We're saying leading up to the rumbling, I'm saying. He's the one who he overthrew the big bad king, King Fritz, the fake one. He opened up the port, Shiganshina, they're getting new technology. Like, okay, all right, I kind of see where the populace is kind of all on Eren's side. And they, it sucks. I don't like that. Like, I like to think the world's a better place, but I was like, okay, all right, I see where you're coming from here. And all the military blasts all got killed when the Jaegerists and Zeke did his scream. They're all gone. But the one good thing, I said it earlier, feels like forever ago now, is that Historia still had some power, and she used it to like look after the family members of like John's mom, Connie's mom. And I was like, okay, all right. So Historia is kind of working with what she got. She doesn't really have anyone like on her side, but she can still do some like small things in the background. And I was like, all right, I guess it's not 100% terrible, but
she can protect the main cast and their families.
That's about,
yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like, oh, she did a thing, which is more than you could say for like the other guys. Cause like I don't know, like I feel like you're on the same page here. Like we do all this stuff, we kill big Aaron, and the guys come home and nothing gets done for 3 years. Like I don't know. I don't know if I really buy that. But
yeah, it's like, how about this? The world is just at the same place it was 3 years prior.
Exactly. Like nothing changed.
No one really accepts the Eldians. I mean, they're not really rushing to kill them, but also because, 80% of everybody's dead, so we're not really trying to go fight a war.
Yeah, like
we got to rebuild.
And so, like, I don't know. It was definitely frustrating.
So here's the fun part.
Okay.
So you said 2 Aarons for it, and I was thinking, what could they have done to make this better? And this involves 2 Aarons. What I think they could have done is you make Aaron the hero and the villain at the same time and win. So, because we already know based off what his dad is, right?
Yeah.
That before he became a Titan, he was predestined to become a Titan, and this future Aaron, I'm just gonna call him, manipulated his dad into the events happening, and even this future Aaron manipulated. Let's just say it wasn't Ymir. It manipulated the events of his mom getting 8.
Yeah.
And they really get, in the biblical sense and past, there is no time. They are past, present, and future all at the same time. And so this future Aaron has done everything. And then Aaron does, has lived his life according to future and arrives to the point where, he is now at past and he disagrees. Like he goes on this pseudo, that was your decision. And you cause all this shit. My decision is going to go to the right. But
exactly.
But now some things have kind of already been preordained. And so now you have what the psyche of Aaron in past was meet the actual and our real time Aaron. And because it's past, so why not? You just make it to where he arrived at the apex
tree.
Point, the point in the story, this point where everything's supposed to line up, and he says no. And then, so now we have this weird modern Aaron battling what future Aaron has preordained.
And that would have been actually pretty cool. Like,
right?
I would have been on board for that. 100%.
Yeah, so now you have things of Aaron, and now we go back to this past talk with Harmon, and he's like, yo, I saw what happened. I saw what I was going to do, what you were going to do, and this is not the future I wanted. So I had to take drastic steps in secret to make sure none of this ever happened, or maybe let's say we're gonna be like, okay, 80% of the world had to die. So here's we fixed this with just a little bit of dialogue. If all this was going to happen and I could not stop it and yada yada yada, I was gonna make sure the people I cared about lived through it, and that would have been like you were on this horrible ride that you could not stop. The gods that be said this was gonna happen regardless. So you used what power you could to just save the people you cared about, and that's all you cared about. Because if someone tells you the world's gonna be destroyed regardless of what you do, you're at least gonna try to at least create something for the people you personally know, so they'll be okay. And I would have been cool with that. I would have been like, you know what? That's just a hard choice to make. Like, what can you do? So
exactly
the 2 Aaron thing, or just a little dialogue change to me, could have made it leaps and bounds better.
I think so as well. We needed more of the Aaron we knew. Like if we're supposed to say he's there all along, we really didn't see him in that story. We really didn't see how he made it better, and I think that would have been a lot better. I'm curious what you think. When I'm taking a look at this in the bigger picture, and maybe we'll get to like Aaron Bird thing in a minute, but for me, while this 139 chapter had some disappointing revelations, disappointing shortcomings, I really feel like the ending was like Pat's and beyond, and it was like the ending of this series is the character showing up to fight. Because we see that scene of Gene is like hearing all the revolutionary Jaegers. He's like, please just let it stop. Please just let it stop. Like, I don't want to be here. And, Hanj like gets in there like, hey man, we really need you. And you're like, all right, you know what? I am a scout. I am going to do the right thing. And like seeing all those characters kind of build up, like Reiner, like, this is why I'm going to be here. Like, this is why, Gabby and Falco are here. This is why Annie's here. And like that to me, like, in the wake of this particular ending being bad kind of thing or lacking, I think that becomes like the true ending kind of thing, because like the path's nonsense is so just like removed from conventional like storytelling and morals, whatever you want to say. It's like, well, the past is the future and this all had to happen because reasons. It's like, okay, well, what do we take away from this story, right? Like, ultimately. And I think, like, seeing the characters assemble is kind of that ending that I think, like, over time, people will feel better about that, even if, like, the last little blip of 139 is like, eh.
So, I'm going to say this real quick since we're talking about endings.
Yeah.
This gave me big... Okay, this was worse for me than the ending of The Last of Us Part 2. Why the hell did Gabby get some happy ending? Like, that just pissed me off. Like, it just did. It really, it was like, okay, she did get better. She had growth.
I actually want to say something about Gabby.
Okay.
So, Gabby, there is no Gabby in The Last of Us 2, to be clear, right? We're talking Attack on Titan. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was talking. There's an Abby that sounds like Gabby, which
that confused me for a second. So Gabby, I think, is actually one of the more interesting characters if you look at it over this arc, because like it was details I forgot. Like the details were there, but when you read those like because this ending essentially took place like 2 years of real time, like getting those chapters one by one by one, and you kind of forget like the little things that happen for these characters along the way. And I was actually really won over by Gabby. Actually, her arc. It's so she's kind of actually like reverse Eren. Like, she's very Eren coded from the start. Like, I'm gonna wipe them all out. And unlike Eren, she she grew up as a child soldier, which kind of gives her some of those I could kind of forgive her being a bad person at certain points, because she was grown up in Nazi land, basically. She has power. Like, she is trained to kill people. Like she was getting things done. She has like I thought it was like 3 clutch shots over the series. She has like 6 clutch shots where like wow, she like made the shot that mattered at the moment, which is kind of funny. But anyway, she meets like the person she killed was the person Sasha rescued, and she goes through that like, oh wow, like I killed that person's sister. Like, wow, she's actually like a person just like me, and I caused a lot of damage here. Whereas like Eren, like he's like, yeah, I'm causing a lot of damage. F it, I'm in. I'm still gonna kill all y'all. Whereas Gabby like realizes like, wow, I've actually been a really terrible person, and what I've learned growing up was wrong. And she's actually the one who kind of inspires Reiner to like get back in it. She's the one who inspires Peak to get back in it. So like she kind of bridges the Marley and the Eldian forces together. And I was like, wow, I kind of forgot that. Like how that played out over the course of this thing, because it happens really quick. Like, I mean, same with some of these like, the townspeople all became Jaegerists overnight, and it's like 2 or 3 panels and you miss it kind of thing. Like, oh, that was supposed to be happening, even if we didn't really see it. And I think Gabby doesn't get a lot of time, but she makes the most of her time. One thing I thought was really funny that I completely forgot about, you know where Eren ties his hair up in a bun? And like, I'm evil Eren now, like that scene.
Yeah.
Gabby actually has her own scene where she ties her hair back in front of a mirror, and she's like, I'm gonna be a better person. And I was like, wow, like she actually had some stuff. I just, like when I see the anime, like see it animated, like that's when it becomes like really ingrained in me. Like, yep, I know all that Attack on Titan. I can tell you about that all the time. And yeah, so if I didn't go like back and reread that, I was actually pretty surprised on her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was neat.
All right, so here's my closing thoughts, because we got to have our closing thoughts. So real quick on Gabby, just the reason I didn't like her, because my friend said it best, because he's watching anime. He was like, does Gabby not understand our moral gray zone? And like, that's the thing about she lives in such extremes and then breaks down so horribly when her extremes don't make sense. And I feel like the reason I don't really give her growth any credit, because it was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna help you save the world, because you literally have no choice. It's either die or help save the world. Like it, because what she does, she has the clutch shot where she shoots Eren to prevent him to stop the rumbling. But at that point, she's very much still kill all the Eldians.
She's kind of in both. That's where her transition's starting.
So she does it like Eren does. Titan Mojo reattaches his head, the rumbling starts. So at this point in my mind, there's really no sides at this point. Is the sides are let the rumbling happen, don't let the rumbling happen. Gabby goes, I guess I gotta team up with these people I hate for the world not to be destroyed. But so I'm like, your choice really wasn't that. You was either a Jaeger Knight or not. That was the line.
I think like and this kind of goes into everyone else. Like, I think the choice was show up and fight or run away. I don't think it was necessarily the like join the Jaegerists essentially and be like, oh yeah, I'm cool with it. I feel like everyone was like, we're definitely not cool with the Jaegerists. Like, those people are crazy. But
we definitely don't want to die.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to die. But like, do we even have a chance? Like that's a big old dinosaur. Like, and there's like hundreds of those things. And I think like, casting aside your feelings and like being like, you know what, I was wrong. I think that's where I kind of, I
will give her that. She did have a moment where it was like, you know what, maybe some of that was on me. Okay, but here's my closing thoughts. I think everything leading up to chapter 139, I will say from the moment Gabby shot off Eren's head unsuccessfully, and I will say the ending of chapter 138, I think is actually pretty flawless. It's pretty tight. It's good. There's highs and lows. It's really word choice. Because it like there's so many great moments I could think from that. From the final battle on the dock to looking. Even though you're not your favorite part, some revelations from paths. Zeke, my God, shot up onto my great character list. He really had some moments that really Eren should have been having, but we don't got time to delve into that. Just know that Zeke, Armin's and Zeke conversation I told about really shined some good character moments for Zeke on that. Kudos to Zeke for it.
I wish it was a little longer, but I overall was like, all right, this is the time we have. I think they made a good use of it, kind of thing.
So my closing statement is the last arc per se is A+ until the definitive ending, which brings it down to about a C in my mind.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about it.
I have a few things. If we got a little more time. All
right, give me the quick version of it.
Okay. I am really curious what, like, we didn't really talk about it, but like what Mikosr's role was in this, because apparently this entire thing that all hinged on Ymir also all hinged on Mikosr. And she's like, the reason I finally backed off and did the Titan, did away with the Titans was because I saw Mikosr's decision. And we never were told what is Mikosr's decision.
I don't know, to love Eren even though he's a monster.
Yeah, like, was it when he asked, like, back in that, when they were visiting Marley, like, what am I to you? And she says family. Like, was that the moment? Was it when, when she walked away from the dream realm where they could be together, like in paths forever, like in the mountains? Or was it when, she sliced off the head? And that was one I was just, like, really confused on. I don't know if you have anything there. Just real
my
quick,
2 cents is I think it was unlike Mikasa, unlike Ymir, was not going to be a slave to her love. She wasn't going to let the man she loved wreck the world. I think that was it. I could be wrong. But
I will keep thinking about that one. Okay. I think you're on a right track on how that shakes out, because that is one of the big questions I have, and I feel like it's going to be a while till we get some of these answers. Like just thinking on them, kind of thing. And so I guess for my wrap up, then, like the big wrap up, I love the journey. So I'm with you. Like that 131 to 138. Like I was shaky, like when reading it the first time, but like reading it again, I was like, yeah, you know what? I really enjoyed this journey. Like this journey was fun. It operates where, like, knowing the why, you can't know the why to have the good journey. Like that's how this story ended up shaking out. But until you learn that final why things happen, it's really interesting. So I think it could have worked out. I think there were like you said, like the two Aarons. Like if Aaron confronted future Aaron, that would have been cool. The other one would be like, nope, Aaron was straight villain and everyone stopped him, and that was the story, and we reflect on stopping him. Like that could have been an interesting one as well. And so I think we just needed, like, as this story was presented, I think we just needed either one of two things. We either needed a true resolution to the conflict, like what you said, like, what are your frustrations? Like, we literally just wrapped around 3 years where nothing really happened, and we're back to where we were before the Marley invasion. So I think we needed a resolution there to, like, be like, I don't know, like, I think we needed, like, the characters kind of have their resolution, right? Like, they know where they want to go, but I think we kind of needed some world resolution there. And then so the other way that I think this could have been a little better is if we got individual, like, and this is what it meant to John, and this is what it meant to Reiner. This is what Mikosr really took out of it, or Armin. And because we don't really get that, I think that's where we're left really wanting more. Like you said, like, oh, they could have had, like, 100+ pages or something, like, for this final chapter, like a double feature or something. And I think just more would have helped. So that's kind of where I stood on it.
Yeah, but maybe when the anime comes back, I'll have you back on and we can revisit that. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have this week. Because I will say more things quick, I want to talk about.
I think the anime I think people will feel better about it when the anime rolls around. I think so. That's just a prediction. We'll see.
I hope so. We'll see. There's going to be definitely a lot of conversation come, this winter anime season about it for sure. Yeah. And I do want to keep talking about it. We're going to circle back to this and have like a how it should have ended or something like that. Once we reflect on it.
I'm down, man. I'm down.
Yeah. But Justin, thank you again. And real quick,
absolutely.
Where can the people find you? Keep up with you, and maybe talk to you about Attack on Titan and tell you how wrong you are. And all that.
For sure. So you can find me at Justin Mikos on Twitter is my social media account. And then I also have my own blog. Maybe I'll write an Attack on Titan thing. I don't know. We had a good discussion today. But if not, my blog, I do write about games and anime on my blog. At www.justinmikos.com, literally my name. And Mikos is my last name spelling. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time talking to you, man. This was a lot of fun.
No problem, man. Like I told you, the stars align. Our little conversation on Twitter, I was like, you know what? Podcast time. Having a spoiler cast.
I've always had fun talking to you about Attack on Titan in particular, so I'm really glad you thought about me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. And you know where to find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media. And, please like, share, subscribe, Justin stuff. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast. As always, I say that's free $99. But in case you want to give some money, we are on Patreon, Full Circle Productions. I'd like to thank the Patreons, Gabriel Garcia, Rachel Coleman, Baked Rice, Ryan Frazier. Thank you all. So, again, great week, great discussion. Please, hit us up on Twitter if you want to have, discussion. Please do #spoiler and then hit return, 2 or 3 times to save everybody from seeing some stuff they might not want to see. But reach out to us. I hope you enjoyed us. And as always, everyone, have a great week and be blessed.
Bye.